Hey you guys, I'm Jack Ruston, this is Lila, welcome to Ruston's Boneyard. Now recently you've probably noticed I've been making a lot of Maria Emmerich's protein sparing bread, and people have been asking, what do you do with all those egg yolks? The answer is a lot of things, but what I thought we might do today is to use some of them to make a honey ice cream. So what we're going to do first of all is to measure out some milk and cream into this saucepan. We're going to use equal quantities of heavy cream, double cream as we call it in the UK, and milk. So
put the lid back on.
Yeah, could you put the lid back on that? I'll put the cream in. So we've got a load of this cream. I'm using this Jersey milk and cream because it's A2 dairy, so for people who sometimes don't tolerate pasteurised cow's dairy very well, it can be better. Here's my little pot of egg yolks from where I'm making my protein sparing bread. I'm thinking about sort of 6 or so. I'm just going to slop some in. Can you get that vanilla extract and take the lid off? Give it a go, a little splash, not half the bottle, just good. I like it. So the best thing to use for the vanilla is actually a vanilla pod, but they're really expensive and I haven't got one. What we need to do is add some honey. So I'm just using a local honey. I always buy raw honey. It doesn't matter so much for this to use raw honey because we are going to have to heat this and there isn't really a way around that with this approach. So what we need is a big heaped spoon of that into here. So have a good dig in the jar. Go on. Yeah, no, I like it. Get it in there. Get it in there. Guys, obviously, you know, this is all cream. Tip it in. Cream and sugar, basically. This is, funnily enough, it is actually carnivore, really. Apart from that vanilla essence, it is a carnivore recipe. But it's not keto. It's going to have a bit too much sugar for most people. If you're a massive bodybuilder, it probably is keto, but for most people it's not going to be. If you do want a kind of keto frozen dessert, I did a week or two back, I did a frozen lemon mousse, which is very much keto, very much low calorie.
It's really yummy.
It's really yummy. It's got the seal of approval. And that mousse very much kind of fits with a fat loss journey in the way that this very much does not. You know, it is whole unprocessed foods, but let's not kind of kid ourselves. This is sugar and fat in combination. It's hyperpalatable. It's absolutely delicious, but it's not, you know, necessarily gonna cause the pounds to fall off us. Right, we need to whisk this up, Monkey. Can you just get the whisk? That's it. I like it. If we heat too fast, the proteins are gonna cause the mixture to curdle. It will split. We'll start to get, instead of smooth, creamy liquid, we'll start to get bits in it as those proteins shrink and separate. It's ruined at that point, basically. So we need to heat it very, very, very slowly, and we want to just be continually moving it with our silicone spatula all the time. It's going to take lowest heat around 20 minutes for this sort of thing to do that. Don't rush it. Now, one way you can gauge whether it's done is with the temperature. So I'm looking for a temperature of about 82, 83 degrees centigrade in my heated mixture. If I go much beyond that, I'm in danger of splitting it. So if you don't have a probe, it's really where it subtly changes to a custard. It just gets that thicker consistency. But it's very reliable with the probe. If you don't have one of these, if you're in the UK, I sell these on my website. The Thermopen Mark IV is the best one to get by Etty. And there's a link on my website, www.rustonsboneyard.com. We're just on the lowest heat, and it is just a question of slowly stirring this round and letting the heat come into it. And at the beginning, it's going to be really, really tempting to just turn the heat up, just to get it going, just to take some of the cold off this. But honestly, that is how you're going to end up with a curdled mess. So we can see we've just got some steam starting to come off it now. And that's at about sort of 65 degrees that starts to happen. It will still be runny when it's done. It's not going to be really, really thick. But what we have to do is just to reduce enough water that when we freeze it, it doesn't just go all sort of icy and crystalline. So we're now kind of mid-70s. It kind of goes from being really quite sort of sloppy to being slightly glossy. We can just start to detect the first hint of it thickening up a little bit. So now we're getting up, just approaching 80 degrees, high 79s, 80 there. And what I'm seeing now is creaminess. So what we're going to do is just hold our nerve and just take this another couple of degrees before we pull it off and transfer it back into a bowl. We need to be really careful now. We're right on the edge of it, and it's got that kind of, it's not quite as thick as custard. I take this over to the counter and I get Lila to keep stirring it because it's still going to be hot pan. I'm going to move the camera around. Lila's on it, she's keeping it going. Okay, grab the bowl, baby. So what we're going to do now is we're going to put it in a bowl and let it cool. Here we go. Look, you can get a sense of the consistency now. It comes out of here. Now what we're going to do, we are going to put this into the freezer and let it chill for an hour, and then we're going to take it out and whisk it with a hand whisk. And we're going to put it back in for another hour and then do the same thing. We're going to repeat that 3 or 4 times. Now, if you've got an ice cream maker, that's ideal. It's gonna keep it moving for you as it freezes, and that way it's not gonna get crystallized and crunchy. But I haven't got one, so we're gonna do it this way. I know a lot of you will not have one either, so it's good to show you this easier method. Lila Bell, open the freezer. In we go. We need a preliminary taste test just to gauge whether it's even worth bothering.
Yummy.
Yummy. Good. We'll be back. Okay, let's see how we're doing. So we've got just the edges starting to firm up now. So we're going to give it a quick whiz. And we'll keep doing that every hour. Do I need a taste tester? I'll tell you what, look. You can wipe your finger on there and taste it just to make sure it's still okay. Okay, so it's starting to really set a bit around the edges now. So what I'm going to do is, before I blend it, I'm going to scrape it off the sides of the bowl where it's frozen most solidly, so that then we can mix that through. It's looking great. Back in. Okay, so here we go. We've got our frozen ice cream. Should we see if we can serve this up? So I've got a scoop. There we go, 1. Lovely.
You usually have 2 or 3 scoops.
Well, 3 is the optimal scoop number.
Then we should have 3.
These are frozen blueberries. I just buy them fresh and stick them in the freezer. And they are amazing for this sort of thing. They're little, beautiful bursts of flavour. I don't know if you can get this. We get it from the amazing James at the Hive Honey Shop here in the UK. This is raw honeycomb, and this is just the most delicious thing in the whole world. And I'm just going to pop a piece
There.
on the top like that. And here we've got honey ice cream with frozen blueberries and raw honeycomb.
For my breakfast.
For your breakfast. This is the taste test.
It's yummy.
It's yummy, is it? Is it amazing?
Mm-hmm.
See, I never eat things like this, so I have to have a taste tester. I only eat the frozen blueberries and the honey, don't I? Okay, you guys, while summer's still just about clinging on, give the ice cream a go. If it's not your kind of thing, try the lemon mousse. If you make these or any of my recipes, take a picture, stick it on Insta, tag me at RUSTON'S BONEYARD. For now, keep cooking.